And welcome in everyone to RedRaiders.com. I'm Zach Long. This is Chris DePertle discussing Texas Tech men's basketball. The Red Raiders, of course, off to an 0-2 start in Big 12 play, but we should probably preface that with who they're playing. The Big 12 schedule makers did Tech no favorites right here. West Virginia, Texas, both ranked teams, and it does not get any easier. A trip to Lawrence, Kansas, Krista, against the Jayhawks.
Absolutely, and Texas Tech has never won in Lawrence. The closest they came was a 9-point loss in 1963.
That's a long time ago.
Yes.
And Kansas, you know, they're still very good. And if you haven't figured it out, folks, the Big 12 is really, really good and really deep. So maybe not as impressive of a Kansas team, still very lethal though, aren't they?
Kansas doesn't have, those draft picks that, we're going to go one and done this season. But another thing that this Kansas team doesn't have, that they have had in years past, is a big block threat down low. You had Jeff Withey, you had Joel Embiid, you had the Morris twins. This year they've got Perry Ellis, who usually does his work in the high post area, and Jamari Traylor, who's got 17 blocks on the season, and Cliff Alexander, freshman, 19 blocks. So Texas Tech, if they go strong to the basket, don't mess around with all these shot fakes, just go up strong. They can get fouled, make your free throws, and they can have a shot at keeping this game close.
And Tech is 0-2, but they are a much better basketball team. And I don't want to jinx it and cause something terrible here, but this is one of the better chances Tech has probably had to go to Lawrence and play a real competitive game against Kansas. They really fought hard against Texas and West Virginia. There's nothing on paper that you're looking at here that makes you think Kansas is going to blow out Texas Tech.
No, and after the West Virginia game, Coach Smith said from the Texas game and that game, his guys know that if they do the small things right, they can hang in there and get a chance to upset some of these top teams.
And if one trip to Kansas wasn't enough to make you super happy, Krista, how about 2 trips to Kansas in the span of 4 days? They'll turn around, come back, eat supper in Lubbock, and head back to Manhattan against a Kansas State team, which is a very tough identity to really kind of point at right now. They've struggled, but they've also shown dashes of being a really good team.
They have, and Kansas State hasn't been too kind to Texas Tech either, only 3 wins at Bramlage. Right now, Kansas State really struggling last in the league in scoring offense, field goal percentage defense, and rebounding. You kind of need to be good at those to win ball games, don't you think?
And absolutely. And in terms of Texas Tech here, this is a must-win for them early on. You go on the road, you're going to have to pick your battles on the road in the Big 12 and win the games you can. This is an extremely winnable game for Texas Tech. And if you do fall in Lawrence, which I'm not saying they are, can't start 0-4 in conference. You got to get that win at Kansas State and maybe fuel a little bit of a fire to come back to Lubbock and defend that home court at a higher level. Very key game in Manhattan, isn't it?
Yes, and especially after Texas Tech's lackluster performance in Vegas. They had 2 games that they should have won, and that would have boosted their resume. However, the Red Raiders really struggled. If Texas Tech goes to Manhattan and gets a win, that could really boost the RPI for some sort of postseason hope, maybe the NIT.
And the nice thing about the Big 12, we talked about how deep the conference is. That helps the RPI because every night you're playing someone that gives you a chance to get a little bit better and earn a little bit more respect. We better wrap this up. Krista has to depart for the lovely state of Kansas, which I'm sure will be nice and warm for both instances in Lawrence and Manhattan. She'll have full coverage of the Red Raiders versus the Jayhawks and the Wildcats over at RedRaiders.com and LubbockOnline.com. We bid you farewell. I'm Zach Long. This is Chris DePertle. You're on RedRaiders.com.